Have you ever caught yourself dimming your light just to fit in? Speaking softer, just holding back and pretending you're smaller than you are. We learn this early. Being our full selves can make people feel uncomfortable. So we mask, we minimise to keep the peace. And somewhere along the way, we lose ourselves completely. If you've been hiding parts of who you are, it's time to find your way back. Let's look at what it really takes to stand out by being authentic. Hi everybody, I'm Catriona Morten. I'm a sensory-motor psychotherapist and I make therapy accessible and help you reconnect to your body and yourself. So let's get started. So if we ask ourselves, why is it so difficult to be authentic, to really show up and be our true self, to have an opinion, to just be exactly how we want to be in any given moment? Of course, we have to look at the past of what's happened, why that's so difficult. Because when we're showing up and we're really being our authentic self, that can feel very vulnerable to people. If we've been told we're wrong, we're told we're too much, or our opinion and the way that we are has jarred with other people, then we're given this message that we shouldn't be like this. Especially if these are, figures of authority. We don't want to be in conflict all the time. We want to be able to get things right, to do things right, and to please and to get a good response from people. Well, that can often mean masking our true self and being very aware of what's expected of us and being aware of what kind of reactions we're getting when we say certain things. And it becomes way about the other people rather than ourselves. And for some people, they can be quite chameleon-like. They can be really, really good at that, of reading the room, knowing exactly what's expected and just delivering that. But it can feel very empty. Sometimes people get to a point in their life that they start to really wonder, well, who am I? What really makes me tick? What are my opinions? What is it? How do I want to be? Because if we're always going along with other people, then it can be very hard to have that real sense of ourself. And that minimises things like true pleasure, things that really, really make a lot of sense to us and have an impact on us, things that make us feel really good and fulfilled. If we're not having that sense of fulfillment, then maybe that authentic self has just been squished down and it's difficult for it to just be without second guessing, overthinking things all the time, running through scenarios. A lot of people, if they're going to something or going to see a friend or going to do something, they'll run over several scripts that sound okay to them. That's like a dress rehearsal of what's about to happen. So we're not just connecting and responding and reacting in the moment and being very authentic. Because like we said, previously, it's made us feel vulnerable, exposed. When others have taken advantage of that, then it's hard to be able to do that. The first thing we have to ask is, well, actually, who am I? What really makes me tick? And it's not just a thought process like everything else. It's if we're looking at, well, how do we feel? How am I going to react? Those are bodily responses. So the first place we have to go is out of here and into here so that we can get really familiar with feeling sensations, really familiar with our body's responses to things, because it changes all the time. Our bodies are incredibly reactive and receptive, and they just have a very pure, honest reaction. We can overthink and change the things that we're thinking and our perception of things if we go round and round and round. And often we're looking at, well, what would other people make of that? What would so-and-so think of that if I said this, if I was like this? So we've got to bring it back to ourselves every single time. And it doesn't matter how we start that process. For some people, it's very difficult. If we've been made to feel that we're not good enough, we're too much, we're too little, then we learn to discount everything, to disconnect from this. So we have to begin that process of reconnection. And if it is really difficult, then we start with something that feels doable, easy. That can be, are you able to feel your feet on the floor? Can you take your shoes off? Can you take your socks off? Can you actually start to be curious about how your feet feel? What you can feel, what are your feet communicating to you? The temperature, what they're making contact with, what they're feeling under the soles of your feet. Just starting with something that's doable and simple. And then we can work up to, things in our core, our breath, our stomach. But sometimes it's easier to start with our extremities. What does it feel like in your legs? Do you have a sense of having arms? And just being aware, start with a menu of, well, how do they feel? Do they feel tingly, cold, warm, tense, relaxed, numb? Just give yourself a bit of a menu and be curious. Oh yeah. Or do they feel a bit heavy? Oh yeah, actually they do feel a little bit heavy. Or do they feel really kind of wired and buzzy? Oh yeah, they do. I'm not putting any judgment on it. We've had enough of that coming at us. But to be able to really authentically be with what our body's doing right now. We don't want to repeat the lessons that we've learned that have caused us to mask. We want to be able to be with whatever is there authentically in the moment and just allow it. I often say your body's not out to get you. It's just reacting and it's just responding. And when we think of things like, well, I wonder what is my favourite colour? When we visualise, or we can have that colour in front of us, we can be aware of what our reaction to it is. What is it I like about that? How does it actually make me feel? And it might be your favourite colour one day and then not your favourite colour another day because you feel differently. And that will determine what kind of clothes do I want to wear today? How do I want to feel? How do I want to look? Not based on what others' perceptions of us are. What things do we like to eat? Why? Why do we like those things? What is it about that actually makes us feel good? And everybody's different. There's no kind of set rules of things. We've been given an awful lot of set rules through our life. This is about really understanding yourself from the inside out. Learning how your body tells you if it's having a positive response to something, or how it tells you that it's having a negative response to something. And often we have that and then we disregard it. Instead of, well, I wonder what that's about. I wonder what it is that my body is actually telling me. Not trying to convert it into something into our head. Because when we start to make assumptions about things, we often get that wrong. But just learning to trust those responses. Learning to trust what our body's telling us, what is our experience of being in the moment, right here, right now. That's authentic. When we can be authentic with ourselves, or if we can't be authentic with ourselves, then it's going to be really difficult to be authentic with other people. We've got to be able to be comfortable in our own skin, comfortable with however we are, so that we're not apologising for ourselves all the time. We're really embracing who we are, embracing the way that we breathe. Those things can make a huge difference to how we are when we're interacting with other people, to be able to really hold our own and to just be the person that we want to be in that moment, decided by us, not dictated by others. And sitting with those things also means sitting with uncomfortable feelings, because often they're the ones that we want to avoid, or they're the ones that we fear most. And it can send a bit of an alarm bell to ourselves. The more we can learn to sit with ourselves, the easier it becomes when things become uncomfortable, because your body's communicating something to you. If it really is uncomfortable, there is a good reason for that. And it could be the company we're in, the things that we're doing, that our head might tell you, no, I really like this. Maybe your body's not agreeing. Maybe your body is actually having a different response. The more we can learn from the inside out, the easier it is to make sense of the world and show up, be able to stand out, take up the space that we want to take, just be whoever we want to be. Being authentic isn't suddenly changing who you are. It's about gently peeling back the layers you've built to protect yourself. It's a process, it takes time, kindness, and a bit of bravery to let others really see you. So if you found this video helpful, make sure you hit subscribe because I share weekly tools to help you slow down, tune in, and heal through the body. Because real healing doesn't start in the mind, it starts in the body.